you know, breaking the stigma around mental health and chatting about these sort of things so we look after each other. So that's why I'm doing this video. I have to note that I don't do this video from the point of view of an expert in the mental field at all, so I don't want to give you any wrong information. Just someone who has their own story, who likes to share some steps like that. So I want to talk about good mental health in quarantine, because I know that's quite difficult for a lot of people. So what I do, like the steps I have to do, because this video is sort of targeted to people who are a bit susceptible to, you know, some dark days or some depression or anything like that. So that's definitely me. So first of all, a routine, right? Routine's really important to do because that sort of normalizes how you're going to go through the weeks. So I have to watch myself. Like, it's tempting to stay up to like 5 a.m. and watching Netflix, but if you spend like the next day sleeping, then you do leave yourself open to some you know, darker thoughts start to creep in, and you can have, you know, depression get in from those sort of things. So definitely having a routine. So even if you're not working, or if you're working from home, try and normalize it as much as possible. Still get up, still shower, right? Please, for all your housemates' sake. You want to have lunch at a normal time, you want to go to bed at a normal time, things like that. That's what I have to do. Otherwise, it can get a little bit out of hand, because we could be like this for another couple of months, right? So we've really got to maintain those sort of steps. So and then in the routine, this is not groundbreaking information at all, but you want to add things like exercise, creativity, you know, things that make you happy as well. So routine is probably the number one step. Just try and normalize your life as much as possible. Unless you're already staying up to 5 a.m, right? Then, of course, do that. Do whatever you're going to do. Don't even take my advice. You really got to tune into yourself. So that's one thing. The other thing I would say is, don't compare yourself to other people. This is what gets a lot of people, right? Some people are flourishing in quarantine, right? They're doing all sorts of shit, like Janet, who's like home making pancakes for a partner, and then she wanted to learn knitting, and she's made a quilt by lunchtime, right? And then learns French, and then after dinner some oil painting. Fuck Janet. Don't worry about Janet. You just need to worry about what you can do. Right? Janet's awesome, but it's got nothing to do with your experience, right? So don't be putting unnecessary pressure on yourself because other people are doing all these great things. You know, I'm very much a supporter of you just doing whatever you need to do, because some people are flourishing. They're kicking all sorts of goals, but some people, you know, they've had a really shitty 6 months and they're burnt out, and maybe they just need a rest. Maybe they just need to chill out for a while, right? So don't feel bad about that. Just let yourself do what you need to do. Tune into yourself, you know. But then also be careful. This is the balance. Be careful that you don't go too far to doing nothing, because then you go into what I said about routine earlier. Then you start to feel a bit useless, and then questions come like, where's my life going? And, you know, you want to avoid getting to that stage. So I would really say, you know, just do what you need to do and don't fuck everyone else, man. People need to stop caring what other people think, myself included. I'm not coming from a higher level. Fuck everyone else. Just do what you need to do. And if you've set a goal of like learning German, like I have here, and you miss a couple of days, fuck it. Like, we could be like this for another 8 weeks, 12 weeks. You can't be, you've got to look after yourself. You can't be hard on yourself at this time. That's the one thing that gets people, is their own sort of pressure that they put on themselves. So, you know, let that go. Fuck Janet, in other words. With goal setting, so you do achieve things. First of all, do stuff that makes you happy. So something you have like an intrinsic pull towards, whether it's learning guitar or painting. Do those sort of things. But also it helps if you set a goal that is a bit more difficult or something that you're not so passionate about. So that might be like push-ups, or like for me it's learning German, right? I don't enjoy that. But if I do that, then at the end of the day, I have a certain amount of pride, which gives me contentment. And contentment is a really good position you want to be for your own health, right? So you want to have that sort of inner pride, and then you'll be a lot better. So yeah, I didn't explain that well at all, but you sort of get the idea. Do difficult things, brave and difficult things, and then you'll get this immense satisfaction inside that will help with your well-being. What else would I say? Yeah, manage your social media as well. Don't be on that all the time. A simple tip, don't wake up and check your phone straight away. This is a habit I have really tried to break for myself. I would wake up and grab the phone and then on Instagram. And when you do that, you start the day in like a position of lack, because you're already in this competitive mind frame. And how come this person's got, it's a shitty way to start the day. So I post stuff about comedy and different things online, and then I just don't check it. I don't look at everyone else's. Like Instagram, I don't even want to start using Instagram. That's how old I am, right? Imagine how I feel about TikTok. But I would just post whatever I wanted to post and then not check anyone else's wall. I just took. Because there's nothing on there that's interesting. Like you'll get a few profiles and they'll be talking about interesting things, and then it'll just be women in the park or something, in like fake models. So do they take photographers with them? Like I always wonder. Anyway, I digress. So be careful on too much social media as well. I know it's difficult because we're at home a lot, but social media is not good for the mind. You do start to compare yourself to other people, and it's not a great way to start the day. So that's what I would say. People are writing questions already. Awesome. I will get to those. I would suggest everybody to learn cooking so we can all cook for each other. Yeah, great tips. People are going to have better tips than me. I'm just rambling. So last thing on quarantine mental health would be make some time for well-being, right? So meditation, yoga. I don't do yoga. I should. That's one of the things I could do this time. Gratitude, mindfulness as well. That's really going to be helpful. So I've started meditating. Yesterday I started something else too. I started meditating, and then I stopped meditating, then I made breakfast, but I stayed in the mindful state. So usually if I make breakfast, I got like the laptop open and I'm like checking messages here, coffee, so this time all I did was just mindfully made breakfast and ate breakfast, and then it's just a way to get into that good state. So, but there's so many good places online to do things like that. Actually, my friend's doing some online meditations. I will share that underneath too afterwards. So that's really it. And stay the fuck home, people. What the fuck are people not staying home? Jesus. I'm talking to Australians, the British and America. I know people have said this before, it's not my own thought, but people had to go to war, right? To fight for their country. We just have to stay home, and people can't do it. People can't stay home. And I worry for Australia, because like America's just got the most cases in the world, I think, over the last 10 hours. But I worry about Australia because they're not taking it seriously at all. And I've sent messages home, and I know like a lot of the Australian community in Berlin have been like, guys, take this seriously, and it's not happening. I think because the government, it's so regulated in Australia that unless the government like imposes a law, no one gives a shit. No one does it. But it's serious stuff, so stay home. I watched this video just before doing this, which I probably shouldn't have, that my sister shared, right? And it was this dude recording himself, and his mum got sick in the UK, right? And so they took her to emergency, and it was coronavirus. And then she had to suffer in hospital. I didn't really think about this. I'm a bit of a fool. And they weren't allowed to see her. So they just sort of had to drop her off, and they couldn't be with her. So they couldn't hold her hand while she was suffering. They couldn't bring her like favorite cookies from a girl or something. They just had to stay at home and wait for a phone call. And then they got, the horrible phone call, but it's some serious shit. So, take it seriously. Stay home. Cook, as someone said. I reckon there's going to be a lot of babies in December, right? 9 months, January, December. There's going to be heaps of kids, right? There's going to be like Gen Q or Gen C. That's going to be, and they're going to come into a new world too, because the world's going to be a bit different after this. So they're going to be like the new generation, and they're going to be a shitty generation because they were born in, like they were conceived in quarantine, like when no one was doing anything good, right? You know what I mean? You know how like when like Spain wins the World Cup, and then like in 9 months after that celebration, there's all these children. Those kids got like the winning DNA in them, right? So those kids are going to go on to do something. But the Corona kids, they're sort of just born in like, we didn't know what to do. Like we didn't even want to have you. We were just bored. They're going to be the laziest piece of shit kids out there. So that's odd. So I got a message. Why are you messaging me a question? Just put them in the comments. Anonymous. Okay. How insensitive am I? What do you do if you break up with your boyfriend in quarantine? Right. But I know, shit. I hope you don't. Don't break up. I would say, don't break up. Because you're in quarantine, just forgive each other. Like, neither of you are your best self right now, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's probably walking around in his boxers all week, scratching his balls. You haven't put makeup on, you don't care how your hair looks. Like, neither of you are really doing that much for the other person right now. So just change your perspective a little bit and understand that it's going to be shitty over the next 3 months. Like, I can imagine a lot of couples, would be breaking up, but just understand it's the quarantine. Like, you're locked in a small, especially in Berlin, you're locked in a small apartment together, right? I mean, who's going to survive that? So I wouldn't break up unless you're using this time to get really introspective and you're meditating and you're looking like, the last 3 years, I'm not really happy with the direction that's going, and then you want to break up, then break up. Also, I'm just talking shit. Also don't listen to me, because I'm not a relationship counselor. But don't break up, because I know you both. So that's why I say that. But you can write a contract to each other or a letter to yourself and give it to the partner, right? And then if, like, in 3 weeks' time, if you're angry, then the partner reads that letter back to you. So it's like, hi, James, this is James. You knew you were going to get pissed off at so-and-so. Why don't you just calm down, chill out, and, relax and be in this relationship. That's one tip, I would say. And after quarantine, I would say go dating again. Even if you're like 5 years together, go dating. You know, because you've been stuck, you've seen the ugliest side of yourself, right? Just farting around the house. When it's over, take each other out for a date. That's my tip. Yeah. And like meet like after work. Don't even see each other get dressed. You know, it's funny how the romance goes. Like when you meet and date. And I got a whole bit about this, but I'm not trying to do any comedy. So you meet and date is almost more interesting than when you go for a date when you live together, because you know you see each other get dressed. So instead of like, wow, you look beautiful at the restaurant, it's like, can we go? What the fuck? You know, so date each other and like meet each other there. Make time for each other, I would say.